Do you think this massive, historic catch-up in market cap, is that product AI driven? Or, hey, this is mutual funds got to own the stock they got to buy?
Well, I think this was a historical week for Cupertino and Cook, because you're unveiling now the AI strategy where I view it's going to lead to a renaissance of growth, and we think $30 to $40 per share incrementally gets added to the story. For Apple, it's 9 p.m. in this AI party that I believe lasts till 4 a.m.
9 p.m. in the AM. That is a great quote, Dan. I want to steal that puppy. What about mutual funds, though? Like, how under-owned or over-owned or normally owned is this stock?
I think it was very under-owned. I think a lot of skepticism going into even WWDC and just in general what we're seeing with Apple. But I think many have missed the forest through the trees. And look, betting against Cook and Cupertino has been the wrong move. And now, okay, you still have a tough June quarter. But when you go into iPhone 16, what we see with AI, what I saw at Apple Park, I believe it's get out the popcorn moment. I think this is the start of an AI-driven super cycle. And that's why I think a lot of the bears this week, they've gone deep into their caves in hibernation mode.
They certainly have, Dan, and I think a lot of people are looking ahead to that next big hardware release to see what the uptake is going to be. I know it's too early to kind of put numbers on that, but is AI really going to be sort of that push? The idea that those of us who maybe haven't upgraded in a while, this is going to be the thing that tips us over, AI?
Oh, I think it is. And I think that was, even though it was a delayed reaction, what Cook talked about at WWDC, because Apple Intelligence, that's really going to be for iPhone 15 and later. And if you look, and this is the most important thing, our estimates, 270 million of 1.5 billion iPhones haven't upgraded in 4+ years. That's why I believe this is going to be an unprecedented upgrade cycle next 2 years. And I believe a year from now, we are looking at a $4 trillion market cap.
Wow. $4 trillion. And you think within a year that we can get there on Apple?
I think you have 3 $4 trillion companies: the godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA, Microsoft, everything Nadella, and of course Cook and Cupertino.
I mean, we're already kind of like, we're at 3.3 trillion, right? So it's not that far in essence. But Dan, my question really is, when you have the overhangs, like the EU, we had a report from the FT that they're looking at potentially Apple going against their digital market laws, like stuff like that. Are these material for Apple? How do you, the notorious bull, look at that?
Look, the DOJ issue, I mean, that's something that I think is much more important, and over the next 3 to 4 years, that will be a bit of an overhang that I think eventually gets played out. But in the near term, the EU, look, getting fines and scrutiny from the EU for Apple, it's like drinking a cappuccino in the morning. That's not anything that they're not used to. So I don't really worry about that from a stock perspective. And I think right now we are on the precipice of a new age for Apple.
Wow, I don't really know where to ask after that, Dan. What are the ancillary plays then in tech for that?
Look, it's all about this AI revolution. And when you look at Apple, clearly semis, it's going to be a huge tailwind additionally to what we see from a smartphone perspective. We see that all throughout our Asia checks. And I think we are now starting to see the second, third, fourth derivatives of AI play out. But for Apple, and the reason the stock's up this week, despite skepticism going in, because the consumer AI revolution now goes through the walls of Apple.